What's up, you guys? It's Coach Anthony's with Six Figure Trucking, and today I wanted to show you how I go about finding hot areas. It's a little strategy I use when I am getting ready to hit the road and planning out my week. And I hope it helps. You know what I mean? So I'm gonna get right into it. I ain't gonna hold you guys up. This is going to hopefully help some of you guys to be able to pick out your areas, pick out areas that are more profitable than others, and you'll be able to know which areas not to go into, how to negotiate a little bit better because you're going into an area that you have a working knowledge of. And so that's what this video is going to kind of walk you through. So let's get started, shall we? All right, so here we go. We're on truckstop.com. You have to have the pro edition, and I'm already here. So I'm already in the area that you need to be. This right here is the decision. It's from in the decision tools, and it's called load densities. So you click on load densities. Like I said, you have to have the pro edition of truckstop.com, and with this, it's going to show you each region that the region that you're looking to go into or whatever, what the ratios are or the densities of that particular area, meaning the loads that are picking up versus the loads that are dropping off, the loads that are coming out versus the loads that are coming in. And so this is the southern states. I live in Georgia. So in Georgia, um, van loads are not good. So as you can see right here, van loads are not doing that well in Georgia. So I'll have to kind of take a little loss to get out. But at the end of the day, if you know what you're doing, if you're playing the game right, then you can profit a lot, even though you're in a bad area, or you know you're gonna have to take that hit in the beginning. But I would say flatbed, Alabama, Arkansas, as you can see, it is going crazy. But if most drivers don't know how the areas are, the brokers know this stuff, so they're looking at these areas and knowing, okay, there's more trucks going into Alabama. I mean, there's less trucks going into Alabama and more trucks with more freight available in Alabama. If I can get them to go to Alabama for cheaper, and even come out of Alabama for cheaper, it depends on your area that you're in, and it depends on the day that you go go onto the load board to try to find you a load. If you do it last minute, it depends. If you're waiting towards the end of the day, then you could really, if you can really get more money out of it if you know what you're doing. But if you don't, then whatever. But people, you guys, the ones that's been in this long enough, if you sometimes, most of the times, if you wait towards the end of the day between 2 and 5, they're a little bit anxious to get the freight booked, so they'll negotiate a lot more. I like to start off pretty high, but nevertheless, this video, I'm just showing you the hot areas that you need to look into or need to be privy of if you're gonna leave out or go into. So for flatbed, Alabama, Arkansas, as you can see, for every 921 loads that are going into um, Arkansas, 3,869 are coming out. For Alabama, 4,670 loads are coming out for every 945 that come in. So that's a very good ratio. Florida's going to always be horrible for the most part. Louisiana's good. Georgia is about even. So going to Georgia, Mississippi is crazy right now, as you can see. 200, 2,933 for every 447 loads that go in. So you can imagine that is, I mean, if you can literally just stay in that area, or stay in an area and make whatever you want to make for that week. North Carolina's okay. South Carolina is really good right now for flatbed. I don't do flatbed. I do dry van. So I'm just showing you, like, this is crazy in the eastern region, the southeastern region. You got a good chance, but obviously Tennessee, that's not good. Anyway, so for van, it's a little bit different. Like, what we don't have as much flexibility as they do, because they have a little bit more work to do. Reefer, they have a little bit more work to do too. But there's a lot of tools that you can use on here. But I like to, since I live in Georgia, and I'll be coming out of Georgia. What I like to do is say, okay, ultimately, this is my bread and butter. The Northeast is where I make my money at. I mean, because I know the area, I know the rates that need to be charged. I know in this area too. But if it varies so much because usually I'm up here. So by the time I have to know what the rates are and how it's looking in these states, Ohio, Indiana, Kentucky, West Virginia, etc., etc., I have to know what these areas are doing. So I have to make sure I pay attention. So what I would do is from Georgia, I would leave out of here and I would go to maybe Ohio, Indiana, somewhere like that. So I need to see what areas have more loads picking up than dropping off. Or it just depends. It really does depend. But I'm gonna look for loads that I have a good chance of coming out with a really good paying load. So I'm gonna probably go, like I'm gonna look on here. I'm not gonna go. I'm not gonna go to an area that has more loads, less loads picking up than dropping off. So, and it gets kind of confusing sometimes. It's hard to kind of make sure. I wish there was a way to highlight just the van, but nevertheless. So I would probably go to um, maybe Ohio or Missouri. As you can see, there's more loads being picked up out of Missouri than there are dropping off. Minnesota is really good right now for van. I don't feel like going all the way up there though, but nevertheless, Michigan is actually really good, even though these numbers can be a little misleading sometimes. So sometimes what you might have to do is find you a low up there and then see if it depends. Like I usually go and I'll say, okay, I'm gonna go into here, and then they'll show you a list of the loads and the rates and everything. So you'll see what the rates are. So from here to Laredo, as you can see, that's not a good rate. That's not a good rate. From here to here, 391 miles. It just depends because Illinois can be a really good area. But here, this is another thing I like to do. So I'll go here, I click on the rates, and then I get to see what's being moved, and then I'll check out the miles. So I check out the miles and see. Let me see. I'm gonna go ahead and put 20 on there. So I check out the miles and I get to see. Okay, what's my best option here? What's the best opportunity I have from here? This is a pretty good low right here. I don't know where New Era is, but this is a pretty good low right here on 843 miles, weighing 43,000. Only thing about that is you got to go over the mountains. I don't like doing that, but that's just me. So I like to. This is how I go about just seeing what areas are pretty hot. All right, so and then I'll get out of there. Anyway, the data is the most important thing that you can have in this business is the data. Okay, you need the information to know and make better informed decisions. And without the information that you need, you'll find yourself, because I didn't know this for a long time. You'll find yourself just driving around chasing dollars and not knowing where you're going or why you're supposed to go to certain areas. So it's important to be able to know what areas you need to go into, and kind of you can start predicting what's going to start moving where, because you'll start seeing a trend in, say, Ohio. They got like 50 loads that come on the load board that's all going to Iowa or going somewhere in Nebraska. And then so it's only so much capacity that a state can take before they have to start shipping out. They have to start, because usually if they're buying stuff from, say, the South, then they're getting ready to they're producing something to move out. So a lot of these Midwestern states, they are production states. So they'll buy raw materials from somewhere down here, and then they'll ship it up there, and then they'll produce it, and then they maybe ship it up here, or they'll ship it out west. But that's kind of the cycle and the system of this business, is they buy low and sell high, and usually these areas are high production, or high, not production, but high consuming areas. These areas right here are high consumption. Florida is a high consumption state. It's not a high production state, but it consumes a lot. It just doesn't produce a lot. These are your working states. These are the workhorse states. These right here are more so consumption, because as you can see, California for van loads, for dropping off, you see there's a lot of loads dropping off. There's not a lot of loads picking up because it is a consumption state. It's not a production state. Nevertheless, I don't want to get too deep into that stuff. I got a whole course that I'm working on that goes is going to go into all of that stuff. But nevertheless, let's focus on this. This is how you find the hot areas right here, by focusing on what's going in versus what's coming out, and knowing what's going in versus what's coming out is what's going to make you the money. So you need to know, for whatever state, going to California would be murder for a dry van. You would be sitting, because there's only 1,000 loads for every 2,474 that come in. And then you got Idaho, which is okay, comparatively speaking. Now, if you're in these areas, sometimes you got to comparatively look at it. If you're going to go out there, you need to look at what state can I go into that I have the best likelihood of getting something that comes out that is somewhat profitable. And 9 times out of 10, it's going to be hard to make something profitable out of the western states, because they are high consumption states. They're not really production states. You have pockets where there are production areas, but for the most part of the state, they are consumers. And so that's pretty much it. Just make sure that you if you have truck stop, I'm sure that they have their own version of it. I'm not sure how detailed they go, because I've never used that. I've always used truck stop because I understand the details. There is some good parts and down parts of using truck stop. They were shut down some kind of way. They got hacked or something around Christmas time, so it kind of threw everything off for me. But nevertheless, that's what I've been using because of the data that they have available, and the ability for me to know how to negotiate better and why I need to negotiate better. That's the reason why I use truck stop. So, but you don't have to use it. I'm sure that has their own version of it, and if they give me a free trial to use theirs, then I'll go ahead and demo theirs. But right now, this is what I use, and this is why I use it, and this is how I use it to be able to make myself profitable for every week. So, hey, you guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you have any questions, make sure you leave them down there. I will do my best to answer. I'm sure, it's gonna be, like, it's not gonna take me a long time to answer, but you know how it is when you're out here on the road. You got stuff to do, and I got stuff to do too. But if you have any more questions about this, please definitely leave a comment down below, and I will catch you guys on the next video. Peace.